Gather round, friends, it's that time of year. The snow is falling and the warmth is near. Welcome to the Christmas episode we cheer on the Take 12 Recovery Show. Spread the love here. Lights are twinkling, joy fills the air. Healing hearts with kindness and care. Welcome to the Christmas, let the music play. In the season of hope, we find our way. With laughter and stories, we share the light. Together we stand through the starry night.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, with the kids jingle belling and everyone telling you be of good cheer. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Well, welcome everyone to the special Christmas episode of the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show. Merry Christmas from all of us here at KHLT Recovery Broadcasting and Take 12 Recovery Radio. And now, here's Monty's beautiful wife, Marcia, with the disclaimer for this episode.
The views expressed on the following broadcasts do not necessarily reflect those of KHLT, Take 12 Radio, or our affiliates. The opinions on this show should not be considered as medical, psychological, or professional advice and are those of the host, co-host, and guest. Take 12 Radio and KHLT Recovery Broadcasting are not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship.
Christmas episode of the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show with a whole bunch of crazy stuff that we got for you. Merry Christmas, everyone! And now, here's your host,
that's right,
the Monty Man.
Bring it on home. From Huntington Beach. Yes, indeedy. There is Roger. And if you guys aren't watching on our YouTube version, stop right now and go to your browser and type in youtube.com/@ Take 12 Recovery Radio. Or just go to our website, take12radio.com, and click on the YouTube version, and look what is on Roger's head. That it is. I said it's like an elf from Alpha Centauri or something. Roger, does it? Your little hat there does more than just sit on your head, doesn't it?
It does a lot more than that, yeah. Do you want to see what it does?
Yeah, let's see what it does. Let's see what else it does.
It probably won't work now.
Come on. Come on, little. Of course not.
Of course not. It did earlier, so.
That little stinker.
Well, it's not working now.
Well, look at that.
Huh.
Maybe we get it to work later.
Isn't that weird?
We'll find out. Yeah, okay. Well, listeners, believe us, it does do a little dance. So we got a fun show for you this week. That opening tune right there was from the Netflix musical Scrooge, A Christmas Carol. I highly recommend it for the family. Great little show. I love musicals. The rest of my family could care less. Marcia and I are going to go see Mufasa on Christmas Day, which we're excited about. So I'm a movie guy. I love movies. I love musicals.
So do I.
And I love Christmas, Roger. I love Christmas.
I do too.
It is my favorite time of year. And I know it isn't for some people, and I know it's hard for many. We get it. But here on the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show, it is Christmas. Merry Christmas to you, my friend, and to all your family. I gotta turn my headphones up. There we go. I can hear myself a little bit more. All right. So as usual, we have to say, what national holiday is it that no one ever heard of before? Today is actually National Prepare the Eggnog Day.
Wow.
Which makes it, and it's actually a registered day. It's not a registered holiday. It's just a registered day. It's not hard to register a day, just so you know. It's not like it's a big deal. National Prepare the Eggnog Day. So typically, and I did not know this, being the teetotaler that I am, I knew that some people, binky out, some people drink eggnog with alcohol in it. I knew that, but I didn't know what it was, and I guess it's rum. Rum
or bourbon.
Rum or
typically rum. I used to drink a little eggnog with my rum.
Did you? And I used to turn my nose up at it and go, oh, yuck. You know, that story in AA about the guy that mixed his booze with milk, and he had a sandwich and figured, that won't hurt.
It's a very popular Christmas drink.
Story. Yeah, and the guy came back from a failed. He couldn't sell any cars or something, and he, he's depressed, and he stops at a diner, and what could a little booze hurt? We'll just put some milk in there and have a sandwich, and
I didn't get that.
And Paul Harvey
with a shot of bourbon with my milk. Okay.
Paul Harvey would say, and then that was the rest of the story.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I always thought, oh, that just sounds horrid. But people drink it all the time, eggnog and rum or bourbon. Don't get any ideas, everybody.
Actually, not bourbon, brandy. It's either rum or brandy.
Oh, that's right, brandy. Yeah,
rum or brandy. Yeah,
brandy. Okay, so we got some fun stuff. I'm gonna play several songs on this show, and here's the thing: we're gonna give away something to some lucky person. I've got a ton of recovery literature that I want to send you. That I just know you. For those of you who like to read, and especially liking to read stuff that makes you feel good and educates you, particularly in the realm of recovery, I've got a lot of stuff for you. And then we're going to send you a flash drive, 1 gig flash drive of recovery recording artists and some of their interviews. And then we're going to send you a CD of recovery recording artists of 19 songs from them. And so we're just going to pick the email at random. So what you want to do, folks, is you want to write down this email address. Do it now. I'll wait for you to get a pencil or pen. Dumpty 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 dum. Okay. Oh no, Roger's singing. Okay, so here's the email address. TAKE. That's the word take. 12, the number 12. TAKE 12 at our radio at Comcast.net. So it's take12radio at Comcast.net. And take a stab at who you think these artists are. Just send me an email. I'm going to pick it at random later on this year, and then we'll announce the winner on our next show. So even if you get it wrong, you may be picked at random to win, there's probably a good $200 worth of literature and music and stuff like that. I'm going to send you Merry Christmas from us. So do that as you're listening to the show. And here's the first song that you want to try and guess the artist. Here we go. This is called Reindeer Rock and Roll. Here you go, everybody.
Sleigh bells ring, loud night so tight. Reindeer hooves pound the frozen ground tonight. Santa's crew ready to take flight, rocking out under the northern light. Dasher's got his shades on, cool vibe. Prancers on the bass, ain't no bribe. Vixen's riffs electric as they jive. Cupid's moves keeping the beat alive. Reindeer rock and roll all night. Santa's sleighing for a wild ride. Christmas Eve in neon light. Reindeer groove we never hide. Blitz drum, solo, icy blast. Dawners in sync, never last. Dancers, twirls happen so fast. Comets riff shaking up the past. Stars above watching the show. Old Saint Nick feeling the flow. Roof stomps keep the rhythm below. Snowflakes falling real slow. Reindeer rock and roll all night. Santa's sleighing for a wild ride. Christmas Eve in neon light. Reindeer groove we never hide.
Ah, get down.
Stars above watching the show. Old Saint Nick feeling the flow. Hoof stomps keep the rhythm below. Snowflakes falling real slow. Reindeer rock and roll all night. Santa's sleighing for a wild ride. Christmas Eve in neon light. Reindeer groove we never hide.
Yeah, Reindeer Rock and Roll. I love it. Absolutely love it. Roger, so what is your favorite Christmas song? Do you have a favorite Christmas song?
Well, there's some of the. I mean, my parents was White Christmas by Bing Crosby.
That was my dad's, yeah.
Yeah, that generation loved that song, and it, when you hear it, it's just an excellent song.
Sure.
There's so many of them. Years ago, I was in a choir at church, and we did Silver Bells, and that's an amazing song.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially when you're part of singing it, because it's so involved with all these different levels of. It was great.
Oh yeah, it really is. It really is. I was part of a choir when I was in Bible college that did the Hallelujah chorus, and let me tell you something. That is not an easy feat. And the choir director wasn't the nicest guy in the world, but he was just so good at what he did. And we practiced in an old downtown San Jose, an old marbled structured Methodist church. This thing was ancient. And we practiced, the organ pipes were behind us, and the choir loft was in front of that. And then the organ was down on the floor, and it was the organ and the Hallelujah chorus. And oh my gosh, it was amazing. But we worked on that probably 3 months.
Wow. Yeah.
To basically sing for 5 minutes or whatever it was. Hey, I got a Christmas story for you. The Christmas tree angel from Michigan. When Michigan resident Chad Rose just happened to have an extra Christmas tree that was used on his business parade float, he did what any decent person would do. He posted it on Craigslist to give it away for free. For some, a tree is an annual necessity, an integral part of the holidays, but for many, it's an expense that needs to be saved for daily essentials. After posting the ad, his inbox was immediately flooded with touching stories of why various families deserved to have the tree. With each email, he said it became clear how significant a simple tree can be in contributing to the holiday aura. One email, which he shared with mlive.com, read, "Having a real Christmas tree would be such a great blessing this year because usually we draw a Christmas tree on a large poster and hang it in the corner. Realizing that $25 towards a tree was too much for some families to spare, Chad went out and bought 40 more to give away for free. He spent most of the next day going over his list of emails, checking it twice, and not paying much attention to who's been naughty or nice, just deserving. But the good holiday spirit in this story doesn't stop there. Anne postponed the East Grand Rapids Reed Roses ad and contacted him, not to get, but to give. She offered to donate ornaments and other trimming for the 40 trees he had picked up. Quote, "Going out to gather up more trees after realizing the impact it would have on those in need is just so generous," she said. "It tells a lot about his character and makes you want to help," end quote. So, yeah, so he's giving away this extra tree he has. He ends up buying 40 more. The lady from Craigslist catches on to it. She donates all the ornaments, and they just keep giving.
That's awesome. That's a great story.
Yeah, these are stories you don't normally hear of. People,
Right.
I've got a couple more for us for the show, but yeah, who would have thought of using that on Craigslist? Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. You got a Christmas story or something that happened to you or something you witnessed during the holidays that you think's pretty cool off the top of your head, off the top of your elfie head?
I remember, well, this is a long time ago, probably, oh my gosh, 40 plus years ago. My wife and I went out one night to, I don't know if we were picking up groceries for a meal around Christmas time or if we were going out to eat. But there was seemingly a homeless gentleman on a park bench. And she looked at him and she said, "Let's go home and make him a meal." And I looked at her like, "Sure, why not?" So we went home. My wife could cook, so she made a wonderful meal that would be appropriate to give to someone so they wouldn't need all utensils and all kinds of crazy things.
Sure.
And we brought it back, and this was in winter because it was around Christmas time. And I remember that I had more than enough jackets and other things, sweatshirts, jackets. I don't remember all the things, but what we did was put together a little care package, and we took it back to that gentleman. And my wife handed him the food, said, "God bless you, Merry Christmas," and I handed him a jacket and a sweatshirt, and I don't remember, maybe some socks. I don't remember what else. And I kind of never forgot that night. It was moving. And it wasn't my idea. It was my wife's idea.
Yeah.
And I'm sure glad she said it, and we did it, and it was the kind of like the Christmas tree story. You just want to give to people that don't have.
Yeah.
And that's what came off the top of my head.
Yeah, that's very cool.
It was a moving moment in my life for sure.
Right. So my wife and I have been working with a gentleman, mostly my wife. We talk about crediting our wives, because she's just able to get around stairs and things like that a little better than I am. So she's able to help him out. And this guy lives in a trailer that should be condemned, actually. He's a veteran, but as we go, the Veterans Assistance Programs here in Oregon really don't do a whole lot for the veterans. Unfortunately, and they do some, and there's some that are very good, but to the degree that they're able to, and he needs much more help. than that. So she is always ready and willing to be over at his place, to get his mail, to bring him food, to whatever. You know what I mean? And he was denied residency in the veterans. There's a veterans home here in Lynn County, which is amazing. The place is incredible, but he was denied entry into it because basically he didn't see gunfire, and he was a pencil pusher, and he wasn't wounded in the war or anything like that. So they said, yeah, if you got $10,000, $20,000 a month, you can come, but other than that, no.
Wow.
And a lot of the other veterans assistance programs around don't do a whole lot except for make suggestions, and point people to the veterans home, which don't take people that for whatever reason. But it's given me a whole new respect for veterans that are homeless. I mean, some of these guys, they're just trying to get enough money to go to the truck stop and take a shower, for crying out loud. And these are guys that, I don't care if you were you saw gunfire or you were a pencil pusher. You were somebody who was doing your part to defend our country.
Yes.
And I see these guys now, or I see the red kettle for the Salvation Army now because of our involvement in the Salvation Army, you and I. I have a whole new respect for people with cardboard signs. I have a whole new respect for the kettle of the Salvation Army. I the other day when I went into our local Bi-Mart store, I was like, well, of course I'm going to, any change I have, I'm going to put in the red kettle. But I had a whole bunch of built-up change in my truck, in my little cubby thing. So I'm gathering it all together, right? There's probably $20 in change in there that I haven't looked at or used in months, right? So I gathered it all together, and I went and did my shopping. I came out, and the red kettle guy was gone. And the kettle was gone. So he probably had to go make a deposit or whatever. But I kept it for the next time I go in. So the people, if you're within the sound of our voices, let me tell you something. Nobody's getting rich. And guess what? Nobody's buying $1,200 worth of dope from the cartel because you gave them a quarter on the street. You know what I mean? Nobody's buying expensive tequila because you gave them your change. So it's changed my whole viewpoint on that stuff. Yeah. All right. So here's our next song. This is cool, especially with the onslaught of modern technology. This song is called Rudolph Says No, AI Has Got to Go. I love it. Here it is.
It was Christmas Eve, the North Pole buzzing. Santa said, Rudolph, I've got a new cousin. A shiny AI with a GPS nose. It delivers gifts and avoids all the crows. Rudolph blinked and his nose turned red. Santa, what's this crazy idea in your head? I've led your sleigh for 1,000,000 nights. You think some robot can handle my flight? Rudolph says no, AI has to go. You can't replace me with some gizmo. I know the clouds and the winds that blow. So listen up, Santa, AI has to go. The AI bot beeped. I'm faster than you. I calculate routes and I don't need food. Rudolph stomped, his antlers aglow. Let's race through the sky, see who's too slow. Dasher and Dancer placed their bets. Common said, Rudolph, don't break a sweat. They took off flying, a neck-and-neck race, but the AI crashed into outer space. Rudolph says no, AI has to go. You can't replace me with some gizmo. I've got the heart and I steal the show. So listen up, Santa, AI has to go. Chuckled, Rudolph, you're right. No bot can match your guiding light. AI's cool, but it lacks the cheer. legend of Christmas every year. Now the reindeer laugh and the elves agree. Rudolph's the king of delivery. The AI's in the workshop wrapping toys, while Rudolph leads Santa with a big "Let's go, boys!" Rudolph says no, AI has to go. You can't replace me with some gizmo. I've got the glow and the rhythm to flow. So Merry Christmas to all AIs, gotta go. So if you see a sleigh flying through the snow, thank Rudolph for saying AI has to go. With his nose so bright and his reindeer squad, they're the OG crew with the wink from Santa Claus.
Yeah. Get it. Rudolph said no, AI's got to go.
I love that.
Yeah, yeah. So what do you think of all this AI stuff, Roger? What do you think? Some good, some bad, some indifferent. We got to be careful. What? What do you think?
I think it's a little.
Think it's a little much?
I think it's a little scary, to be
A little
honest.
scary. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's like it's been coming for decades.
Sure.
But
Sure.
you know, I like sci-fi movies, and you can watch iRobot and some of those. It's like even HAL in 2001: Space Odyssey. You know.
Hal.
Yeah, remember HAL? It's
Yeah,
just
evil little Hal. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't change my life, but it's sort of. I don't know. If I think about it, it's a little concerning.
Yeah, it is a little concerning.
Yeah.
Okay, here's our next story. The homeless man with terminal cancer who gave everything he had. A homeless man in Colorado used what little he had to give a selfish gift during a toy drive at a local Walmart. Glenn McCarthy walked to Walmart to get a cup of coffee and was instantly touched by the toy drive that was going on there. He ended up buying a Barbie and a Hot Wheels set, and he couldn't stop thinking about a shiny new kid's bike that he saw. Quote, and I looked at the bike, and the bike was marked $59, but the tag underneath it said $44, end quote. Well, it's not a lot of money for some, but for Glenn, it was nearly everything. Later that night, he still couldn't stop thinking about the bike and how happy it would make a kid in his shoes come Christmas morning. He walked back to Walmart and asked about the bike. Since the tag listed two different prices, once a clerk realized what he was doing, she told him that he could have the bike for the $44. He said, I got to thinking this is probably going to be my last Christmas. I'm no one, so might as well make some little kid happy. It took my losing everything to realize that I'm happier now in my life than when I had a lot of money. I have $44, so I bought the bike.
Wow.
Woo! Yeah, there you go, right? So, you know, when I read stories like this, and you know, it's so easy to get caught up in the humdrum of what's going on these days, right? And just, you know, all the yeah buts, and you know, people have lost their minds, and yeah, you've heard me say it. People are morons. You know, I mean, you know, but we get to the point where we start getting callous about life, right? And yeah, you know, we as believers in the God who is God and the God of the gospel, which is the purpose that most Christians celebrate Christmas. And we could talk about why the 25th of December isn't Jesus' birthday. But by the way, folks, have you ever celebrated your birthday early? Yeah, so get over it. You know, but the deal of it is there is still a lot of really great people walking around. You don't want to miss it. There's stop and talk to somebody. You know, last year when I put some money in the Red Kettle, I stopped and talked to the guy, and he was just a simple guy, volunteering his time, but he had a heck of a story, you know. And I got to know him. Never saw him again, but I got to know him. And for that, 3 to 5 minutes, my life was enriched. Roger, ever had that happen?
Oh,
By
100.
somebody? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. When I think when any of us step out of our comfort zone and do something like that to try and brighten someone's day,
Yeah.
it makes our day way better. That's a simple fact. And the whole concept of that Jesus said, I came to serve, not to be served.
Yes.
And, the whole concept in Alcoholics Anonymous is to be a giver, not a taker. And so if our job is to be of maximum service to God and to others, there's an inherent joy and peace that comes to us when we do that with no strings attached. I used to be a giver only for quid pro quo. I gave because I wanted double back. I wanted more than I gave back, and if I didn't get it, then I was upset. I'm not that guy anymore, thankfully, and it brings joy to my heart when I see someone smile because I asked them if they were having a good day, or how are you, or can I do something for you, or can I buy you a cup of coffee and a meal, whatever it is, like the red kettle, all those things. If you can brighten somebody's day, why don't we do it?
So some folks who have really brightened our day here at Take 12 Recovery Radio, I want to give a shout out this year to the following people. Ezekiel Hill, a good friend of mine, graduate of Adult and Teen Challenge, was able to attend his wedding a while back, and they are, I don't think they've had their baby, but they're expecting. So Ezekiel, affectionately known as Easy, we called him Easy, just a great guy. He donates every month to Take 12 Recovery Radio. He does an automatic donation thing on PayPal on our website. By the way, if you do want to donate, I'm not saying this to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. If you want to donate to help keep us on the air, just visit our website at take12radio.com, and down on the bottom left of the page, there's a donate button that you can click on. So Easy is he's a great friend of mine, just a great brother. I love him so much. And he's just a testimony to what God has done in his life, clean and sober and serving the Lord. Dr. Alan Berger, our Jewish friend from, I think he's from Philadelphia now, I believe. The author of 12 Stupid Things That Mess Up Recovery, 12 Essential Insights to Emotional Sobriety, and many other books and videos. You can visit his website at abphd.com. Dr. Berger sponsors Take 12 Recovery Radio every year. Come about around March, he sends us a check, and he believes in what we're doing. He doesn't do it to get advertisement. We do advertise for him. He does it because he believes in what we're doing. And Dr. Berger has been a dear friend of ours for a very, very long time. Chris S., one of my co-hosts, he's the gentleman that, he's my mentor. And I guess you could call him my service sponsor in many ways. And he is the guy that helped me put together Walking Through the Big Book, Walking Through the 12 and 12, and more recently, Walking Through the Language of the Heart. And I've traveled with Chris before and done presentations side by side with him. Just probably one of the most downloaded AA circuit speakers on the web, Chris S. Roger McDermott, who happens to be looking at me right now, Take 12 Recovery Radio contributor, not just financially, but by helping us co-host the shows. Roger, you kind of stepped into the void that was created when our co-host Denver passed away, and you just keep doing it with me, man. And I'm just so grateful for you, buddy.
I love it. I love what you do. I love what we do. I love the whole thing. And if anybody is interested in donating to what happens here, please do, because Take 12 is supported only by people who give and support the message.
Yeah, you bet. And every penny we get goes to the maintenance of our equipment and the software and keeping up to date on things like Riverside, which you may not know it, but that's the mechanism that makes our videos and so forth and prepares them for YouTube. Kurt and Debbie Palmer from Grass Valley, California. Kurt and Debbie donate every month faithfully, and they have been dear friends of mine since Bible college. Just amazing folks that have a heart for the hurting. Tom and Alicia, Tom Williams and Alicia Martinez. Alicia Martinez is the senior volunteer for the Came to Believe Recovery Ministry, and Tom Williams is the CEO. And they co-host a show that we produce here at Take 12 Recovery Radio called the Came to Believe Recovery Podcast, which airs on Wednesday. Not this Wednesday, however, because of Christmas and the holidays, but usually on Wednesday. And they're just amazing people. Matt Brown from Freedom Interventions, who co-hosted many shows with me in the year 2024. Freedominterventions.com is his website. This guy knows about proper intervention. Listen, if you need an intervention in your family's life, please don't try to do it on your own. Get some suggestions. At least give him a call and let him help you through some very painful and difficult things that if you try to do yourself, you might regret that. And then there's just so many more that, if you want to go to our partners page, there's a whole list of people that you have no idea how many people it takes over the 20-year stretch to make this thing work. There's just literally a ton of people. We appreciate each and every one of you. All right. Our next song. The reindeer got drunk and stole my Christmas tree, Roger. Yeah, check this out. This is pretty fun.
It was a cold December night, snow was falling just right. When I heard a noise outside, that gave me quite a fright. Hooves on the rooftop, bottles clinking loud. I peeked through the curtains, couldn't believe the crowd. Dasher had the whiskey, Dancer chugged the beer, Prancer played a banjo, shouting Christmas cheer. Rudolph had his nose in a bucket of moonshine, and my poor Christmas tree was on the reindeer's line. The reindeer got drunk and stole my Christmas tree, tore through the yard like a wild stampede. Santa's in the hot tub, dancing on his knees, while the reindeer got drunk and stole my Christmas tree. I grabbed my boots, my coat, and my old banjo, chased him through the snowdrifts, yelling, let it go. Cupid had a tinsel lasso, Vixen had the lights, Comet made a snow angel screaming through the night. Blitzen hit the jukebox, cranked a country tune, Donner tap danced on the hood of my Subaru. I tried to grab the tree back, but Rudolph took a swing. He said, finders, keepers, buddy, we're doing our thing. The reindeer got drunk and stole my Christmas tree, lit up the night like a red-nosed spree. Santa's in the hot tub singing karaoke, while the reindeer got drunk and stole my Christmas tree. Marched to the North Pole to file my complaint, but Santa was too busy, said, sorry, I just ain't. He was sipping eggnog with Mrs. Claus on his knee, while the reindeer paraded with my tree for all to see. The reindeer got drunk and stole my Christmas tree, tore through the yard like a wild stampede. Santa's in the hot tub, laughing merrily, while the reindeer got drunk and stole my Christmas tree. So if you hear some clatter on your roof tonight and see a glowing red nose shining extra bright, lock up your decorations, your gifts, and your tree, 'cause the reindeer are out there and they're tipsy as can be. The reindeer got drunk and stole my Christmas tree, turned my holiday into a comedy. Santa's still too busy to set them free, so the reindeer got drunk and stole my Christmas tree.
That's a great song.
Isn't that great? Isn't that
love
great?
the banjo.
Oh, the banjo. I love that. Yeah, what I think that is, somebody told me that is probably the most complicated string, other than the piano, probably the most complicated string instrument to learn how to play. That's why few people are masters of it, right? Yes, the piano is technically a string instrument.
Did you ever see Steve Martin play the banjo?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, amazing stuff. Also, Jerry Van Dyke, Dick Van Dyke's brother. There was an episode on the Dick Van Dyke Show. Boy, am I dating myself now. On the Dick Van Dyke Show years ago, where Jerry appeared and played the banjo, but in the show he could only play it when he was drunk. And when he had drunk, he could play the banjo. When he was sober, he couldn't play. I don't know if that's true in real life, or well, he's gone on. He's gone on, passed on this mortal coil now, but yeah, he was a phenomenal talent too, and of course Steve Martin, just amazing. Yeah, okay, so here's our next story. The college student who found her home away from home for Christmas, while all her classmates were eagerly making plans with family and friends for their trips back home for the holidays, Jackie Turner, a junior at William Jessup University, that's my alma mater, near Sacramento, was worried she would be the only student left on campus for Christmas. This time of year is hard, Jackie said. Everyone is talking about their cousins, their families, all the things that make up Christmas. But Jackie says she doesn't have any of that and never did. She told CBS News that her childhood was abusive, and she never shared in any of the experiences she heard her classmates talk about. Instead of feeling sorry for herself, though, the straight A student posted an ad again on Craigslist offering $8 an hour to rent parents for the holidays. Maybe for like a couple of hours, she said. Just be like the light of their life for a moment. She got dozens of responses to her ad, about half from parents who wanted to help, for free, of course, and about half from other young people who felt the same way she did. So she held a meet-up Christmas potluck dinner. People are hurting and broken, and we need each other, Jackie said. We need to be loving people, and I think that's what tonight's about. Jackie not only found a mentor for herself that holiday season, but matched the needy with the needy. She continues to host yearly meetups with a potluck Christmas dinner because no one should ever feel alone at Christmas.
Wow. What a great story.
To all you Craigslist haters, back off. Oh, man. So let me ask you, Roger, did you ever spend a holiday, not necessarily just Christmas, but a holiday where you're supposed to be with people you know and you ended up maybe being with someone you didn't know?
Not that I can recall. There was always family
Always
events.
somebody?
Yeah.
I did one time. And let me tell you, it was uncomfortable at first. You know, it's funny because I'm not real secure in my own skin when it comes to brand new circumstances where I'm by myself, and you know it could be like a men's breakfast, be invited to a men's breakfast by somebody, and not know anybody and show up. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's kind of unnerving for me until I've sat down, had my first cup of coffee, and I'm chatting it up with somebody. But getting there and getting in my chair, so to speak, it's a little hard, you know. Going to somebody's house for dinner, like when I was in college, I was invited one time to somebody's house for dinner. I don't think it was Christmas, but I went. I didn't know them. They had drawn my name out of a hat or something. I think maybe it might have been a holiday, but anyway, I ended up going over there, and the whole time I was on the way over to these people's houses, I was really trying to talk myself out of it, but I didn't, and I showed up, and we, you know, became great friends. But, you know, I get it that being hard for people, and and it's hard for people to walk into the room of recovery for the first time.
Yes, it is.
And it's usually not because they're afraid people are going to look at them because they're alcoholics or drug addicts. It's because it's the newness and the unfamiliarity of the situation that drives some of us a little batty.
Right. I think that's natural. I really do.
Yeah.
And maybe more so
Agreed.
for the addict and the alcoholic.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. So if you're guessing on who these artists are, give it a stab at it. Just take a guess at it. I will give you a clue. Some of these songs may be being performed by the same artist. Here's a clue. I'm going to give this one away. Chillbilly is the author of this song. This song is called Rudolph Ran Grandma Over with a Beer Truck. Okay, now here's Chillbilly with Rudolph Ran Grandma Over with the Beer Truck.
It was Christmas Eve and the snow was falling down. Grandma was out dancing in her festive red nightgown. She heard a jingle jangle and a rumble through the trees. Turned around and saw Rudolph. He was driving on 3. Old Rudolph ran Grandma over with a beer truck. A 6-pack sleigh with a busted tailgate. He slid through the driveway. Too much Christmas cheer. Now she's stuck in the snow, tangled up in reindeer.
Okay, stop right there. That's not actually what happened, everybody. This is what really happened.
Oh boy.
This time reindeer got ran over by Grandma. Riding her new snowplow Christmas Eve. You might think she's sweet and harmless, but trust me, she's got tricks up her sleeve. It started when she heard them on the rooftop, prancing around and kicking up a fuss. She grabbed her keys and shouted, "Oh, not this year," and barreled out the door without a fuss. This time reindeer got ran over by Grandma, and Rudolph's nose turned from red to blue. Santa yelled, "Who's gonna pull my sleigh now?" But Grandma just laughed. "Guess it won't be you." Now Dasher's in a neck brace, poor old Dancer. And Comet's limping with a broken hoof. Vixen's writing up a hefty lawsuit, and Prancer's got his tail stuck on the roof. Oh, Grandma's now the talk of all the North Pole. She's been banned from every reindeer farm, but she says, "That's fine. I'll buy a rocket and blast it off with Santa's sleigh and arm." This time reindeer got ran over by Grandma. She says it's time to change up Christmas Eve. So if you hear a roar up in the night sky, that's Grandma pulling Santa by the sleigh. who's driving. And keep your pets and reindeer out of sight. She's got a lit foot and a need for mischief. Merry Christmas to all, and to all, good night.
And evidently, that's what really happened.
That sounds good to me.
At least this year. Okay. Let's switch it up a little bit here. And this is a lot of fun. And I, this time of year needs to be a lot of fun. It is the one calendar-wise, one equalizer, right? I mean, I don't know too many people that are, walking around enjoying hot chocolate and looking at the Christmas lights that are asking each other who they voted for or what their opinion is on political issues or even matters of faith. I mean, people are pretty cool. Most people and if there's any time of year when you need to drop the opinions, do it now. At least for a couple of days. You know what I mean? But I will say this. We sing a lot about peace on earth, goodwill towards men. Yeah, but at what price? Well, there's one who gave the ultimate price, didn't he, Roger?
He did.
And he came for the purpose of doing that. Now, I know some of our listeners don't buy into that, and that's fine. And you don't have to. But we do. And that one is Jesus. And believe me, folks, he's much more than a newborn in a smelly old cave. And if I had to complain about anything, it would be the Christmas movies that play all year and declare that the true meaning of Christmas is about family and giving each other gifts. Yeah. Where did that all come from? Yeah, it came from God, but I wish for people a relationship that would be rebirthed in their hearts towards our Lord. I'm not sure where I heard this. I don't know if it was this Sunday morning but how people say, well, this God thing isn't about religion, it's about relationship. And what I heard was it's about both. It's a religion helps protect my relationship. It helps my relationship grow. It gives me the boundaries. It gives me the, that kind of thing. I thought I never heard that before. I really like that. But yeah, the relational thing that we have between ourselves and what my mentor Chris S. would refer to as the divine. I love that. It's so vitally important, right? So Roger, how do you share with others the true meaning of the Christmas time of year? Are you able to speak to people of the Christ child and his purpose for coming to earth?
Well, around family, I usually do a Christmas prayer, and I thank Jesus for coming. But like the holidays that we celebrate, whether it be Thanksgiving or Christmas or Easter, my life recently has become you can celebrate those things every day. Every day, yeah. And so I don't know that I'm different on Christmas than I am on any other day. I want to carry the message. That's why I'm so grateful for the opportunity to work with Salvation Army and to be involved in Alcoholics Anonymous and in my church. What I find is the purpose is the same in all three places. And when you have a relationship with our Lord and Savior, it changes your life, and you want to share that information of how it changed your life with other people. It took me a long time to realize I'm not in charge of changing people. I don't have the power to change people. But I do have the let's say, the responsibility to tell other people how my life has changed as a direct result of Christ. So
Yeah.
I love sharing that. I mean, when you talk about sharing the good news, my life is good news from what it used to be to what it is. And I love sharing the truth about how good my life is. That's why I say I'm blessed and I don't have any valid complaints. I got life going on. Life's going on all the time, and family and friends are having problems and health issues and all kinds of things. But it doesn't change my purpose, and it doesn't change my responsibility or my accountability. And that's the way I choose to live today, and it's the best life I've ever had. So
Yeah.
every day can be Christmas.
Right. Right. Yeah, and if you really want to break it down, Christ Mass, I mean, we know that in some denominations Mass is celebrated several times a day, right? But the recognition, I mean, so I had a Catholic priest friend of mine explain to me that actually when you say Merry Christmas, you're actually saying Merry Crucifixion of Christ. You're not really referring to the birth. You're more referring to his crucifixion, because Mass is short for the word massacre. And so you're celebrating the one might say you're celebrating the massacre of Christ. What they really mean by that is the gift he gave, the price he paid upon the cross. That's what you're celebrating. That's what you're reflecting on. And our Catholic friends do it several times a day, around certain times a year. Sometimes every week they go several times a day and celebrate the sacrifice that Christ made. I am not one of those guys that has a problem with a crucifix, because when I look on a crucifix, man, I think of the sacrifice that my God made for me. Yeah, I recognize that he resurrected. I have no problem with that. But it sends chills up my spine every time I see a crucifix in a good way. I'm like, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord.
Yeah.
Because without that sacrifice, without him coming, and Scripture tells us, in John, in the beginning was the Word, meaning God. And the Word became flesh, meaning the Christ child, and dwelt among us. And in the beginning, he created all things, and nothing was created that wasn't created by him. And he was the light of men, the light of the world, And I get goosebumps now talking about it. It just
anybody that looks at the crucifix, and has, well, I suggest to everyone, if you haven't seen it, watch The Passion.
Yes, watch The Passion.
It's
hard to get through.
It is. I think I maybe watched it twice because it's phenomenally done.
Yes.
It's really, really, everybody says that is an authority of that, says it's the best representation of what truly transpired during Christ's crucifixion, the time leading up to it. And I understand that Mel Gibson's working on the next one, which will be the resurrection. And I can't wait till it comes out.
Wow.
To watch The Passion and then the resurrection together, because that's the meaning of it all, right?
Yeah.
Paul said we're crucified with Christ, but we also rose with Christ.
It's so I'm going to pick on some people here I couldn't do a show without doing this, of course. I have some well-meaning Christian brothers and sisters that they don't really want to watch The Passion because, Mel Gibson comes from a Catholic background. It's got a Catholic spin on it. And I'm like, get over it.
I don't even know. I went to 12 years of Catholic school. I don't see any Catholic spin. I don't know.
The only thing I know is that Mel Gibson, claims Catholicism as his.
Fine, but
that's all I know. And the deal of it is, wait a minute, how many movies do you watch that are produced by?
Yeah, that's
some pretty horrible folks. Give me a break. That's what, you're the one that's on the losing end if that's your attitude, right? Go see the thing. I'm telling you, it'll change you. It'll change you.
It will go see it and then report back after watching it what
Yes,
you thought, how it moved
absolutely.
you. It's like that concept that
Absolutely.
we talk about a lot, contempt prior to investigation.
There you go. There you
I
go.
live my life that way for 45 years, and I hate when I do that now. I don't
Yeah.
want to do that anymore about anything.
Yeah, it's a waste of time.
It
It's
is a
just
waste of time and energy, and it's
Yeah.
stupid. Quite frankly, it's
Yeah.
absolutely stupid. For me to report to somebody that I know something about something I know nothing about is utterly ridiculous.
That'd make a great song, right?
Yeah.
I'm reporting to you
Something I know
Uh,
nothing about.
something I know nothing about, but I'm reporting it to you because I know nothing about it, thinking that I know something about it or whatever. Blah, blah, blah. I like what my buddy Chris says. You know, the spiritual awakening thing. Before I had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, I was walking around asleep, thinking I was awake.
That pretty much says it right there, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. Okay, we're going to close out with this song and then a story that I want to read for you. And I've read this on several occasions around the holidays for other folks. I don't think I've ever read it on the air at Christmas, and I want to make this a tradition at Christmas time that I read this to you. So we're going to close out with a song called "We All Need Christmas," and I'll tell you who it's by here in just a second, and it might surprise you. But before we do, I'm going to let everybody know who was behind these songs, and it was the same artist. I don't know if you guessed that or not.
Oh, is that right? They're all the same artist?
Yeah. Other than Rudolph ran grandma over with a beer truck, who was Chillbilly, the other songs were all the same artist. Got any idea, Roger, who that might be? He's thinking. Just take a stab. Just take a.
I want to say, I forgot his last name. Ray. I'm not remembering.
I can't wait. The songs that you heard, including the music, was all manufactured and produced by AI.
Wow.
Yeah. That was
Wow.
all artificially manufactured. Now, isn't that a trip?
I don't know what to think about that. That's a little unsettling, Monty, but
Merry
only you would
Christmas.
do that.
Me and my beloved Cecil.
Good
Yes.
grief. So I have my own Cecil, Monty.
I know you do. Look at that. That's amazing.
And my Cecil's better than your Cecil.
My Cecil is better than yours. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, this song, we're going to play this song, and I'm going to close out with this story. Before we do, any closing thoughts from you, Roger, on our Christmas special?
I just want to wish everybody a very blessed and Merry Christmas. Do something for somebody else and don't tell anybody about it and see how you feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen. Good deal. Okay. We all need Christmas. Here's Def Leppard.
So here's to you and all you do. Let's raise a glass to all that's past and to the future. Long may it last. Oh, let it last. And may the light shine on you and trust your hopes to see you through forever after. Let it be true for those we've lost along the way. They may be gone, but they still remain in our hearts, in our name. We all need Christmas. We all need someone to need. Open your heart and let love breathe. We all need Christmas. We all need love to succeed. Follow your heart and let love lead. This Christmas. Open your heart and let love breathe. Follow your heart and let love lead. This Christmas.
Wow, I'd never heard that song. That was awesome.
Def Leppard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Who knew? Well, I'd like to close out this very special episode with Daniel's story. I sat with two friends in the picture window of a quaint restaurant just off the corner of the town square. The food and the company were both especially good that day. As we talked, my attention was drawn outside across the street. There, walking into town, was a man who appeared to be carrying all his worldly goods on his back. He was carrying a well-worn sign that read, "I will work for food." My heart sank. I brought him to the attention of my friends and noticed that others around us had stopped eating to focus on him. Heads moved in a mixture of sadness and disbelief. We continued with our meal, but his image lingered in my mind. We finished our meal and went our separate ways. I had errands to do and quickly sat out to accomplish them. I glanced towards the town square, looking somewhat half-heartedly for the strange visitor. I was fearful, knowing that seeing him again would cause some response. I drove through town and saw nothing of him. I made some purchases at a store and got back in my car. Deep within me, the Spirit of God kept speaking to me. Don't go back to the office until you've at least driven once more around the square. Then, with some hesitancy, I headed back into town. As I turned the square's third corner, I saw him. He was standing on the steps of the storefront church, going through his sack. I stopped and looked, feeling both compelled to speak to him and yet wanting to drive on. The empty parking space on the corner seemed to be a sign from God, an invitation to park. I pulled in, got out, and approached the town's newest visitor. "Looking for the pastor?" I asked. "Not really," he replied, "just resting." "Have you eaten today?" "I ate something early this morning. Would you like to have lunch with me?" "Do you have some work I could do for you?" "No work," I replied. "I commute here to work from the city, but I would like to take you to lunch." "Sure," he said with a smile. As he began to gather his things, I asked some surface questions. Where are you headed? St. Louis. Where are you from? Well, all over, mostly Florida. How long have you been walking? 14 years, came the reply. I knew I had met someone unusual. We sat across from each other in the same restaurant I had left earlier. His face was weathered, slightly beyond his 38 years. His eyes were dark, yet clear. And he spoke with an eloquence and articulation that was startling. He removed his jacket to reveal a bright red T-shirt that said, Jesus is the never-ending story. Then Daniel's story began to unfold. He had seen rough times early in his life, much pain, much suffering. He made some wrong choices and reaped the consequences. 14 years earlier, while backpacking across the country, he had stopped in a beach in Daytona. He tried to hire on with some men who were putting up a large tent and some equipment. A concert, he thought. He was hired. But the tent would not house a concert, but revival services. And in those services, he saw life more clearly. He gave his life over to Jesus. Nothing's been the same, he said. I felt the Lord telling me to keep walking, and so I did. Some 14 years now. Ever think of stopping, I asked. Well, once in a while when it seems to get the best of me, but God has given me this calling. You see, I give out Bibles. That's what's in my sack. I work to buy food and Bibles, and I give them out when the Spirit leads. I sat amazed. My homeless friend was not homeless. He was on a mission and lived this way by choice. The question burned inside for a moment, and then I asked, what's it like? What? To walk into town carrying all your things on your back and show your sign? That's humiliating at first. People would stare and make comments. Once, someone tossed a piece of half-eaten bread and made a gesture that certainly didn't make me feel welcome. But then it became humbling to realize that God was using me to touch lives and change people's concepts of other folks like me. My concept was changing too. We finished our dessert, and he gathered his things, and just outside the door, he paused. He turned to me and said, Come, be blessed of my Father, and inherit the kingdom I prepared for you. For when I was hungry, you gave me food. When I was thirsty, you gave me drink. A stranger, and you took me in. Whew, I felt as if I were on holy ground. Could you use another Bible, I asked. He said he preferred a certain translation. I read it 14 times, he said. Well, I'm not sure we've got one of those, but let's stop by our church and see. I was able to find my friend a new Bible, and it would do him well. And he seemed very grateful. Where are you headed from here, I asked. Well, I found this little map on the back of an amusement park coupon. Are you hoping to hire on there for a while? No, I just figured I would go there. I figure someone under the star right there needs a Bible. So that's where I'm going next. He smiled, and the warmth of his spirit radiated with the sincerity of his mission. I drove him back to town where we had met 2 hours earlier, and as we drove, it started raining. We parked and unloaded his things. Would you sign my autograph book, he asked. I like to keep messages from folks I meet. I wrote in his little book and commented to his calling that had touched my life. I encouraged him to stay strong, and I left him with a verse of Scripture from Jeremiah. I know the plans I have for you, declared the Lord, plans to prosper you and not harm you, plans to give you a future and a hope. Thanks, man. I know we just met, and we really are strangers, but I love you. I know, I said, I love you too. The Lord is good. Yes, he is. How long has it been since someone hugged you, I asked. A very long time, he replied. And so, on that busy street corner, in the drizzling rain, My new friend and I embraced. I felt deep inside that I had been changed. He put his things on his back, smiled, and said, "See you in the New Jerusalem." "I'll be there," was my reply. He began his journey again. He headed away with his sign dangling from his bedroll and pack of Bibles. He stopped, turned, and said, "When you see something that makes you think of me, will you pray for me?" "You bet," I shouted back. "God bless." God bless. And that was the last I saw of Daniel. Well, late that evening, as I left my office, the wind blew strong. The cold front had settled upon our town. I bundled up and hurried to my car. And as I sat back and reached for the emergency brake, I saw them. A pair of well-worn brown work gloves, neatly laid over the length of the handle. I picked them up and thought of my friend, and wondered if his hands would stay warm that night without them. Then I remembered his words. "If you see something that makes you think of me, will you pray for me?" Today, his gloves lie on my desk in my office. They help me to see the world and its people in a new way, and they help me remember those 2 hours with my unique friend. I pray for his ministry. "See you in the New Jerusalem," he said. "Yes, Daniel, I know I will." Until our next broadcast, this is the Monty Man along with Roger McDermott and the rest of the Take 12 Recovery Radio family, wishing you all a very, very Merry Christmas. Until next time, we're also wishing God's perfect serenity for you. Bye-bye now.
Don't let the weights of the past keep you down. There's a melody here to turn it around. In each story and song you'll find a friend, a chorus of courage that'll never end.
This has been a broadcast of Take 12 Recovery Radio and KHLT Recovery Broadcasting.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. See you next year, everybody. See you next year.
This has been a Chicken and a Pig production.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!